beast! Ah!
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Not the Bees, the Nicolas Cage filmography podcast. My name is Megs.
I'm Elizabeth.
And this week we watched 1995's Kiss of Death. It stars David Caruso. Nicolas Cage is in it. I wouldn't say that he has a starring role. He does have a side role, but this is a David Caruso movie. It was actually really difficult for us to find this movie. We found it, we were only able to watch it on YouTube, and it was what looks like kind of a bad VHS rip. So everything was inverted, but we were able to watch it. Also, both IMDB and Rotten Tomatoes have this movie listed as an hour and 41 minutes long. YouTube's version was 2 hours and 6 minutes. So I don't know if it was just like a timing issue or maybe we got to see an extended version. But yeah, anyways, so David Caruso plays a guy named Jimmy. Jimmy is an ex-con. He has a wife named Bev, who's played by Helen Hunt, and an infant daughter. One day, while Jimmy is at home watching the baby, his cousin Ronnie, who's played by Michael Rappaport, shows up and begs him to be a driver in a car heist or he's going to be killed. He swears it'll only take 2 hours. He'll pay Jimmy $1,500, and Jimmy gets Bev's sister from upstairs to watch the baby while he leaves. At the shipping yard where all of the stolen cars are, we meet Little Junior Brown, who is played by Nicolas Cage. He is in charge, and he is a violent man. He grabs Ronnie by the throat to strangle him, but Jimmy calms him down, and they get on with the transporting of the stolen cars. While driving, the truck is pulled over by some detectives. One of them, Detective Hart, played by Samuel L. Jackson, shows his badge. Jimmy has a passenger. He's one of Junior's gang, and he's drunk and he was passed out. But he wakes up during the pullover, and when he sees the cop's badge, he pulls a gun and shoots Hart. Jimmy puts his hand up to block the shot, but he ends up with a hole in his hand, and Hart is shot in his face anyways. All of the cops open fire, and the passenger is dead. Jimmy and Hart are taken to the hospital. Jimmy is fine. Hart is alive and being worked on. The DA, Frank, played by Stanley Tucci, tells Jimmy that he's being charged with the murder of the passenger and aggravated assault if he doesn't tell him who the others involved in this scheme are. Jimmy says some guy called him and told him he'd pay him $1,500 to be a driver, but he doesn't know who the guy was. Frank tells him he's looking at 40 years. Does he think the other guys would do 40 years for him? But Jimmy sticks to his story. In jail, Jimmy's lawyer tells him that they won't get him for murder or assault, just stolen property, and he'll be out in maybe 2 years. He tells Jimmy, don't worry about your family. We take care of our own. If it wasn't clear, this lawyer is the lawyer for the junior organization. Ronnie goes to Jimmy's house, and he's talking to Bev. He says he'll give her $150 a week out of his own pocket to help her out. He says she can make more if she comes to work for him at the garage, making appointments, taking payments, all legal. He knows he owes Jimmy, and he wants to help. Bev goes to see Jimmy in jail. He tells her he had no choice. They would have killed his cousin. Bev is very upset. She needs him on the outside. She does accept the job at the garage. She works in the office. Ronnie tries to offer her a beer on a hot day, but she doesn't drink anymore. Then some guys show up to try to sell a stolen car. Ronnie says he doesn't have anything to do with stolen cars. He doesn't know them. One of the guys says he was in jail with a guy named Vinny who knows Ronnie. So Ronnie breaks his beer bottle over the guy and then proceeds to smash the car that the guy wanted to sell and then chases him and his buddies off the lot. Then he comes back into the office and tells Bev that he'll take her home. They make a stop on the way. Ronnie says he needs to speak with someone, but he'll buy her a soda. It's a strip club, and he's meeting Junior's dad, Big Junior, while Little Junior is bench pressing a dancer. Ronnie leaves Bev at the bar while he speaks to Junior's dad. He's dropping off some money. Big Junior asks if Ronnie's taking care of Bev, and Ronnie assured him, yep, he sure is, $400 a week out of his own pocket. He even gave her a job. Big Junior tells her to also give her a car. Back at the bar, Bev has been drinking, and she's a recovering alcoholic, so this is all bad news. He asks what kind of car she likes to drive, and then, seeing she's clearly intoxicated, starts getting a little handsy. Little Junior interrupts and says his father says to take her home, to her house. Ronnie is annoyed, but he complies. Except he doesn't take her home. Bev wakes up still drunk at Ronnie's while he's singing in the shower. She calls Rosie her sister and then pushes past Ronnie on her way out. She has his car keys and attempts to drive home, but is hit by a large truck head-on. Jimmy is taken to see the prison chaplain to learn that his wife is dead. He is allowed a pass to go to her funeral, and Ronnie says how sorry he is, but Jimmy wants to know why she was in his car at 8 a.m. Ronnie makes up some story about sending her to get his wallet while he was working. The cops start walking Jimmy to take him back to prison, and Rosie walks with them. Jimmy asks what time Bev left for work that morning, and Rosie says she never made it home the night before. She said Bev called from work the day before saying Ronnie was driving her, but she never made it. Jimmy tries to fight the cops off to go after Ronnie, but they drag him away. Jimmy goes to the DA and offers to name names if he can get his mother-in-law to bring his daughter to visit, and he wants a day pass to go upstate and spend a day with her there. The DA wants more information. Jimmy offers info on a jewelry store job for the day pass. It's an unrelated case. He gives the names and says to book him for that case also, otherwise they'll think that he talked. The DA asks about the Navy Yard when they were doing the stolen car heist. Jimmy says it was the same guys as the jewelry store, just him and the two other guys, but the DA says there were 4 people. The DA says there's no way he doesn't know the guy that got him into this mess, but Jimmy says he's not lying. Next, his lawyer is telling him about the new charge, and Jimmy asks if they got Ronnie too. The lawyer says Ronnie's name didn't even come up. Was he there? Jimmy says, yeah, it was his idea. The lawyer asks if he talked, but Jimmy says he's not stupid. He wouldn't talk without a lawyer. The lawyer goes to see Big Jr. Ronnie is now suspected to be a rat. Big Jr. sends Little Jr. and some guys to take care of him. At the garage's office where Ronnie works, Jr. and his guys darken the windows. They're all wearing ponchos. 2 of the guys hold Ronnie down while Jr. beats him to death to the soundtrack of Jump Around by House Pain. And then they clean up, wrap the body, and take it out. Jimmy gets his day pass. Turns out Detective Hart survived the shooting, and he and his partner are Jimmy's escorts. Only they don't take him upstate to see his daughter right away. They take him to the river, and Hart hits him a few times. Jimmy gets up and asks if he can see his daughter now. They get back in the car. Jimmy gets to see his daughter. They even take the cuffs off of him. Rosie gives him all the updates on the baby. He holds his kid and pleads with his mother-in-law not to take her away from him. Next, some time has passed. It's now only 3 weeks until Jimmy gets out. Rosie is at the prison and has brought his daughter to see him. He laments that he won't have a job, but he wants to thank Rosie's parents for helping him get an apartment. Then a week before he gets out, he's visited by the DA, Hart, and his partner. The DA says Big Jr. is in the hospital and he's probably not coming out, so Little Jr. is going to take his place. He wants to take him down and asks Jimmy to narc on him. Jimmy says he just wants to go home. He just wants what he had before all the other guys came into his life. He makes the DA swear that if he does this, he'll cut him loose after, and the DA agrees. Jimmy gets out of prison and he marries Rosie. On the way out of the courthouse, his daughter almost gets hit by a car, and then we see that Detective Hart is sitting parked at the curb watching. Hart and Jimmy set up a sting where Jimmy wears a wire. He's pulling a job with some other guys and then meeting with Junior. Hart wants him to get Junior to talk about a guy named Omar. Jimmy and crew go out and boost cars. Afterwards, they go to Junior's strip club. Jimmy and the crew are watching the dancers when Junior spots him and makes his way over to the group. Junior sits next to Jimmy and tells him he heard Jimmy lost his wife. He just lost his dad last week. He had less than 5% lung capacity. He says if that happens to him, he'll take himself out. He says to Jimmy, at least his wife went quick. There's a scuffle with a dancer and a drunk patron. Security brings the dancer over, and Junior has the guy place the hand that he touched the girl with on the table. Then he has Jimmy light a cigarette for him. He says being on the stage is hard. How can he make this guy understand? So he has the guy stripped down to his undies and then pushed onto stage to dance. Jimmy points out a rich patron and tells Junior he admires the work he does, but it's kind of awkward. Jimmy goes into the bathroom and takes the wire off and throws it out of the window. Once he's back in the stall, Junior and his guys come in and they're looking for a wire, but Jimmy says he just did 3 years for him. One of the guys on his crew pointed the rich dude out 2 minutes before Junior sat down. He was just trying to make conversation. Junior hugs him and apologizes. It's been a hard week. Let's go for a drive. When they stop, Junior tells Jimmy there's a bag in the trunk and to get it. As he's pulling the bag out of the trunk, a gun clicks behind him. Junior's friend Omar is there holding the gun on Jimmy. Jimmy tells him to calm down, lighten up on the coke. Junior says they have the cars. Omar asks if he has the titles, and Junior says he does. They make their deal. Omar doesn't like Jimmy, says he looks scared. Jimmy says, let's dance. To Junior, Omar says no new faces, and then he and his guys walk off. Junior gives the car that Omar did not want from their heist to Jimmy and says that it's his. Hart is waiting when Jimmy gets home. Jimmy gives him the list of cars, tells him about the deal, and Omar. Tells him that he had to throw the wire away. He got patted down twice tonight. He asks why they even assigned Hart to this case. Hart tells him about his eye, which is where he was shot, and all the problems that he has with it, so he asked for this assignment. And if Jimmy takes the wire off again, he's going to beat him to death. In the house, Rosie asks if he's going back to jail because she's not Bev. She can't handle it. She wants him to tell her what's going on, so he does. He tells her about the wire, about his past crimes, and that it was all bullshit. Jimmy's trying the wire again. Him and the gang work on the cars they've boosted and getting rid of the evidence, and then back to the club. Jimmy goes to leave, but Junior stops him and says, let's go. The two take a drive. Jimmy asks if he did something wrong, but Junior doesn't answer. They end up meeting with Omar. Omar is sitting in his car. Junior tells Jimmy to approach the car from the passenger side. When Jimmy reaches the passenger side and leans down, Omar asks what the fuck they want. And on the driver's side, Junior pulls a gun and shoots Omar in the forehead. Jimmy asks what the fuck he's doing, and they leave. Junior drops Jimmy back at his own car at the club. He tells Jimmy that he hates the taste of metal. Silverware makes him gag. He's never told that to anyone before and tells Jimmy to come by the club tomorrow. They should talk. And then he drives off. Jimmy calls and asks for Hart from a payphone, but then Omar's guys grab him and hang up the phone. They find the wire and then put him in a car. He tells them he didn't do it. The guys take him to some kind of a warehouse, and the DA is there with a bunch of other suits. Apparently, Omar was a federal agent. The feds want Jimmy to be their CI or they'll charge him with murder. The DA tells him that's not happening. He can fuck up their case. So now it's going to be a joint effort, and he wants the case to be tried by the state, and the feds want it to be tried federally. They haggle for a bit before Jimmy lays on the car horn and says, just talk to him. They listen to the tape when Junior kills Omar. Then Jimmy asks if they are done with him. They say he's dreaming. Next, all the suits are pulling up to Junior's strip club to arrest him. It goes rather smoothly. Then we're in a motel room on the boardwalk. Jimmy and his family are here with Hart and the cops. They're going to try to keep him from the stand, but he may have to testify. In jail, Junior wants to know where Jimmy is. He knows he worked with the cops. The cops have to keep moving Jimmy to keep them all safe. Their next safe house is a lake house. Hart tells him that he has to go to the city, but he can bring his daughter back the next day. She's about the same age as Jimmy's daughter, and they can play. Jimmy agrees. Next, we see a meeting between the feds and Junior's lawyer. He's claiming self-defense and drug abuse by Omar. The feds say his gun was holstered when they found him, and his drug test was negative. No drugs in the car. So the lawyer wants to know if Omar had authorization to shoot first and question later if he thought his cover was blown. It's dangerous to have a federal officer with a drug problem waving a gun with shoot first clearance. At the safe house, a car with two women pulls up. One is the dancer Junior was bench pressing at the beginning of the movie. She says they're looking for a hotel. The cop tells them they just drove through the town where it is, turn around and try again. So they leave. The cops go to look for Jimmy's kid, but they can't find her. Back in the lawyer's meeting, Junior's attorney is asking for the number of people involved. The feds say it's an active investigation. We're not putting agents in danger by exposing them. The judge orders the feds to hand over the files. He will review and determine what is privileged. Back at the safe house, everyone is still searching in the woods for Jimmy's baby. Jimmy finds her, and she's got the word BAD spelled out on her forehead in red. The feds end up telling the DA that they're dropping their case. The DA says he'll take it from here. He'll make them give up the files. The feds ask what he wants. The DA says he wants to be a federal judge, and then Junior is released. Now they're going to go after Jimmy. Jimmy takes Rosie and his daughter to his mother-in-law. She tells him to call Hart, but he says he'll be fine. He says goodbye and drives away. Jimmy goes back to his old apartment. The word bad is written on his front door in red. Hart is there. He takes Jimmy's gun. They go inside and talk. Jimmy says he's not going down. He was just trying to help people, and he keeps getting fucked over. He begs Hart to help him. Hart sets up an impromptu meeting with Jimmy and the DA. Jimmy asks why Junior is out on the street. He killed a fed. They had the tape and him. The DA says, what tape and who the fuck are you? Jimmy says he knows about the exchange for his judgeship. The DA says there will always be people like Junior, but he's a good prosecutor and will be a good judge. Jimmy threatens to go to the papers with the tape. The DA says it's gone in the trash and walks away. Hart is waiting for Jimmy. Jimmy calls and says to meet him at the strip club in 20 minutes. Inside, Jimmy approaches Junior. Says he killed a fed. How's he out? Junior says shit happens. He asks if Jimmy told the cops about the metal thing because he couldn't get plastic in prison. He had to eat with his fingers. Meanwhile, Hart gets stopped on the way in massive traffic. Junior tells Jimmy to leave, but Jimmy pulls a gun. He tries to push the gun into Junior's mouth, but his guys pull him off and throw him away, and then they fight. Hart finally makes it, and Junior punches him in the face. Hart arrests him for the punch. Jimmy tells Hart about the wire. Hart says the DA still has to prosecute. Next, Jimmy is talking to the DA and plays the tape of what Jimmy had said at the club. The DA doesn't care, so Jimmy plays the portion from earlier that day when the DA says the original tape got tossed. He says the media would love that. Then he walks away to meet his wife in the car that Junior gave him after the first meeting with Omar, and they drive away. The end. Elizabeth?
Yes, dear.
What did you think of this movie?
First off, the cast is stacked.
It really is. It really is.
Nicolas Cage, David Caruso, Sam Jackson, Stanley Tucci, Ving Rhames, Helen Hunt. Like, it is the most 1995 cast you could possibly imagine.
It really is.
I thought this movie was really good. It is a little slow. It takes a little while to get going, but it is really interesting, and yeah, I really liked it.
I also enjoyed it. I also felt like it was really slow. Like, it took a really long time to get going. But like, it's not like there's nothing happening. Like, there's a lot of stuff that's happening, but it still just takes so long.
Yeah, it takes a while to get to the central conceit of we're going after little Junior. Michael Rappaport, I forgot to mention him earlier. He's in this. He's amazing. He is a little shit weasel, and I am glad when he dies.
Same. I actually dislike Michael Rappaport. I don't think he's a good actor. And anytime that I'm having to watch something with him in it, I can't wait until he's off the screen. So when he died, I was very happy about that.
My least favorite character in this movie is Nicolas Cage's goatee.
Same.
That man can just not pull off facial hair.
It's, unless it's like a beard. Unless it's a beard. He looks fine in a beard. But when it's just a goatee or a mustache, like, it just doesn't work.
No.
It just doesn't work.
You're right. The full beard in Mandy is very good.
Yeah. I actually think that he did a really good job in this movie.
I agree. He plays badass really well.
He does play, but like this character is badass, but like is also not badass.
Yeah.
Like, he's kind of just like, he's like a buff, like cut, like wormy dude that like is living in his father's shadow.
Yep.
I wish that Helen Hunt had been in more of it.
Yeah, she dies pretty early.
Pretty fairly early. And considering that this movie was made in 1995 and is a remake of a 1947 movie, it's still pretty like good. Like it's like it aged well. It didn't.
Yeah.
Like it's, the acting is good. The writing is good. I don't know what version of it exists. It's only an hour and 41 minutes. But that's probably why it took so long. We probably ended up seeing like an extended cut on YouTube. Yeah. And that's probably why it took so long for it to get off the ground. There's probably like 20 minutes of erroneous editing that happened on the theatrical release. But I also have a really hard time looking at David Caruso and thinking that he could be outside of the law ever.
I do not like David Caruso. He's one of my least favorite actors.
Same.
He doesn't really change from role to role. He always is playing the same character. And I just don't like his ugly mug.
Yeah, he's very two-dimensional, and he's just not an attractive person to watch.
So I was going into this was like, ugh.
Yeah.
But he had a moment back in the mid-90s, and this is one of those things that he got to do with his moment.
Yeah. And it was fine.
Yeah. This was a good role for him. He played it well. I enjoyed his performance more than I thought I was going into it.
What would you rate this movie?
I'd give this probably a B.
I think that's fair.
What would we rate the caginess of it?
I mean, I think it was fine. I don't think this was like, by any stretch, like one of his great roles. I think he played a character as I expected him to.
Yeah.
Yeah. For me, I would give him a C.
It is a bit of a subdued performance,
Yeah.
especially when, he's playing this badass. You would really expect to see more of Cage come out. Instead, it's a very subdued, it's very sort of a middle of the road performance.
Yeah, it really is. Plus the goatee just kind of throws you off.
Yeah.
It just doesn't sit right on his face. I don't know. I really don't know why people try to keep like costuming him with like strange facial hair. Like it just doesn't work. Like in National Treasure, he has sideburns and it okay, but like it really all it does is age him. I feel like anytime he has just a mustache, he just looks creepy. Goatees make his chin much weaker. Like he should either be clean shaven or full beard. Like
Yeah.
Like they need to stop doing that to his face because it's just not. And like, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with him, like having his face like that. But like, it's just not. It doesn't look like he should look. Like it detracts from the character that I'm trying to immerse myself in because I can't stop looking at him knowing that this is Nicolas Cage with an obvious like
fake goatee.
Yeah. Or like grown for this and like it's too like clean cut or whatever. Like
Yeah.
So yeah, I would give him a C and I'm fine with the movie as a B overall.
I can live with the C. That's fine.
Well, there you have it, folks. It's a C Nicolas Cage effort on a B movie. I wouldn't necessarily say that we wouldn't recommend this movie, but it is difficult to find. So you can find it on YouTube if you want to watch a bad VHS rip that is inverted.
The things we do for our audience, Megan.
I mean, you can also buy it on eBay, I think, for like $30 or $40 or something like that because it's out of print. But so yeah, we wouldn't say don't watch it, but you might have some trouble. But anyways, if you do like what we're doing, first of all, thank you for listening. And if you want to follow along with us, we are on socials on Instagram at Not the Bees Pod. We do also have a Patreon at patreon.com/notthebees if you want to go over there and maybe support us monetarily. We would certainly appreciate that. You'd also get early access to our episodes. And we would also appreciate if you would just interact with this episode in any way on any podcaster that you have. But otherwise, that's going to be it for us this week. I've been Megs.
I've been Elizabeth.
And we'll see you next time, kids.